Wonder about the future and how you'll be working and learning? Welcome to You in 2042, the future of work, with your host, Danielle Wallace.
Hello, welcome to You in 2042, the future of work. Today, Roxanne Kisson joins me with her thoughts on the accelerated need for bite-sized learning.
Well, my name is Roxanne Kisson. I work for Chemtrade Logistics, which is a chemical company, and I am a talent development business partner there. I manage all assets of talent development, from performance management to leadership training. So front end, top to bottom, talent development.
Roxanne, what are your thoughts on the future of work as it relates to learning and development?
So if I go back 22 years, and even if I'm thinking as a student, right? If I look back then, learning was interpreted, it had to be face to face, right? I had to take my 8-9 hours, or sometimes even 2 or 3 days, and I have to be sitting in front of a classroom with a facilitator face to face, and that's my best way of learning. And for the longest time, that was the concept of, I'm going to training kind of thing, right? If I fast forward to today, and especially during the times that we are in now with COVID, I think learning, and even leading up to this, let me backtrack a little. I think over the years, learning has changed to me, it's changed for the better and for the good, from the perspective of, there's different types of learning, right? I can opt for the day long in face to face. I think learners, especially in a professional development capacity, you want the quick pulse learning, right? You want the bite-sized learning, right?
Bite-sized learning?
So I've seen that it's gone from, in person, face to face. I've seen it gone to, the mid between, like the 2-3 hours, but then I've also seen the bite-sized learning. And throughout my years of experience, I've had more success with the bite-sized learning, right? If I'm coaching employees and I'm talking about, perhaps a learning path, I would always include the bite-sized learning, perhaps, a one or two professional development online, but also throw the bite-sized learning in there. So I think it's all about the learner, to tell you the honest truth, and finding different ways for learners to learn and adapt.
It's all about the learner?
I think, if I look at myself, and I'm also talking about manufacturing, it is very hard. I think it's having different type of mediums of learning, right? It's very hard to get a manufacturing employee out off the floor for a day to go for a training. But if we were to take that training and we were to break it up into different modules, and I have to be a bite size, and I have different kind of modules, I would have more success coaching that employee into his personal development and his learning path with that type of a program, as opposed to a face-to-face.
So that's truly amplified with the manufacturing environment.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from that because that's where I'm here and now, and I've also seen it at Unilever, right? And I think going forward, I think it's, I'd like to think that, again, 22 years or 10 years from now, from a learner perspective, we would continue on that path to have different types of learning and different accessibility of learning, right? Because when you look at the workforce, I think even now I have a hard time, even with my corporate teams. I will plan with them, but I even have a hard time if it's in person. It takes months and months of planning with them. I have to look at the calendar for the entire year or quarter to make sure that there's no drastic meetings going on or business meetings, just to get them out for a day or two, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the way forward with learning is just to make it more accessible to employees in different types of settings.
Yeah, so really, but making it accessible so they can access it when they need it, it sounds.
Yeah.
And then the bite size enables it to actually be fitting into their schedule,
Mhm.
as opposed to the converse of the scheduling conflicts
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, we live and breathe learning. We love learning. But when you're on the flip side of that, like you never want to build a culture whereas, oh my God, HR is sending me to learning, right? And that comes, I've seen that comes with the fact, oh, I have to be away for 2 days. I'm getting anxiety. I have to plan this and I have to plan. And that's a very known mentality in manufacturing, right? It is. And I think, just making it more accessible.
Yeah, that need for it to be accessible and more bite-sized is really even more apparent in manufacturing, as you're saying, where there is that mentality of, oh, I'm going to training. And I could see that even being heightened more in the future when people definitely won't have the abilities to be away
Mhm.
for a day. That's
Yeah.
not possible.
Yes. So I think, again, I think it's come a long way, right? Because I think 22 years ago it was just, oh, I have to be in a classroom setting. That's the best way I'm going to learn. But it's evolved from there, right? But with the evolution as well, taking into consideration how a learner learn, you cannot be 6 hours online or 3 hours. You kind of have to have the quick touch and the bite size. So I think going forward, 10 years, 15 years from now, I think learners are going to look for more quick touch ways of learning. I can listen to a podcast. I can go have a look at a TED Talks. So I think it's just more different types of modes of learning.
Yeah, going forward, people are looking for the even quicker learning.
Yes, even quicker than we are now, right? Like when I'm looking for a TED Talks, like, I mean, you and I will look because we're learning and I can sit and watch a 15-minute, but if I give someone a 15-minute, they'll go, well, is there a 5 minutes? Right. Just the quick touch. But I mean, you can understand too, right? I think everyone is kind of looking for different kind of ways of getting that quick information. There was a good, and I forgot, and I don't know if they've updated it since. Version by Deloitte had this really good. Have you seen that one page?
Yes.
Yes, that they give
Yep.
you the stats of how
Modern
employees
learning.
learn, how many times a week, and how you retain it. So that's I think that's the way forward.